don't have any special powers.
Oh, I have one, Johnny. I never give up.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I also posted a link to the DC fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're looking at Detective Comics 475 from 1978, featuring the Joker. A good condition book of this will run you about $100, and a really good near mint one will run you about 200-ish. So this is a hot book whenever you want. I'm doing all of Marshall Rogers' run, so I have a playlist. Feel free to check it out. I cover Batman, different eras, and I've got Denny O'Neil and oh my goodness, Neil Adams. I've got Jim Starlin's run with Jim Aparo. I'm covering the Batman vampire era from the early 80s, and I'm also covering Marshall Rogers. So this is the Laughing Fish storyline. This is one of the best Batman stories of all time. Marshall Rogers, rest in peace, is a huge inspiration for what Todd McFarlane will end up becoming. Terry Austin inks this book shortly around the time that he will end up being the inker at Uncanny X-Men with John Byrne. So Terry Austin is basically kind of getting his licks in, his professionalism, right before he takes over with John Byrne. So I think this is 78, and I think John Byrne and Terry Austin take over in 79, if I remember correctly. So over at Uncanny X-Men, which, by the way, I have a playlist as well, and I have the entire John Byrne, Terry Austin era of Uncanny X-Men. All right, so great splash page, and we see here it lets us know that some Thunderheads are developing here, and we got Batman, the cape just every which way, and he is going to visit Silver St. Cloud and look at the shadow stretching over here. Steve Englehart is our writer. Marshall Rogers is the penciler. Rest in peace, Terry Austin is our inker. Julie Schwartz is the editor. Also rest in peace, and his name says Jews, but it's Julius. So, all right, the Laughing Fish. And so Batman's going to see Silver St. Cloud, who he is dating as Bruce Wayne. But here's the thing. She figured out that he's Batman, but she hasn't told him that she figured it out. And he figured out that she knows he's Batman, but he doesn't want to say anything either. So they both know what they know, but neither one is saying anything. So Batman comes through, kind of startles her, and he says, "May I come in? Look at this. This is the cape that inspired. This is what Todd McFarlane, big inspiration to him." And so here, we in their thoughts, we know that Batman is saying, "She knows who I am." And so he says, "Miss St. Cloud, I thought you had something to tell me last night." And she says, "Did I?" And then she goes, "No, I don't think so." And then she kind of runs away from him. What could I know about anything? I'd never seen that Deadshot guy before, she says. And Batman says, "That's not what I mean." Well, I don't know what else to tell you, Batman. Really, I'm afraid you've made some mistake. He notices her hands are shaking and wonders why. And he says I should just take off my mask, force this game to come to an end. And then he says, but what if she doesn't know? Then, that would be even more shocking, he says. And I love this part here. I love the two panels, but they're really connected into one. And I just love the hands or the arms underneath the cape. So that's pretty cool here. So she says, would you say something, please? I have a date coming to pick me up. Bruce Wayne, perhaps you know each other. And Batman goes, thinks here, whatever's going on, she's quick to recover. And he says, maybe I've made a mistake, Miss St. Cloud. If that should prove the case, I apologize. Until we meet again. And so Batman leaves, and then she collapses here like, oh my God. And so she goes, he knows. What else could I do? That was the Batman. She says she just knows because of the his chin, his that she just recognizes him. And so and she understands how important his secret identity is to him. But like I said, she recognizes the jaw. And so the phone rings, and it's Bruce, because they have a date, and he's calling from a payphone. And he says, I just wanted to let you know I'll be a little late. I have a few things to work out yet. And she says, you know what? I have a headache. Why don't we postpone it anyway? Just put it out for a better time. And he says, that sounds sensible. And then she's like, I got to get out of here. I need time to think where he won't find me. And so Batman's swinging, kind of doing the thoughts. He confesses that he's in love with her. And I love these panels, not only of him swinging, but look at this, the building and just details. And look at this, the perspective, buildings here. My God, here's Silver leaving. So he's a big inspiration to, like I said, McFarlane. And even Rob Liefeld says he's an inspiration to him, but Rob Liefeld never puts on backgrounds. Rob Liefeld is inspired by people that he doesn't really do anything like they do. So, anyway, someone is screaming, saying, help, police. So he's going to go down and investigate. And it's all these fish that look like the Joker. And you can see Batman being startled. And then look at that. Even the seagulls, he makes them look like, oh my gosh, I want the fish here. And so he's saying everything that they catch, look at this, see the Ecology, by Terry Austin here. Anyway, so Batman doesn't know what's going on or what the Joker's motive is. So then this is happening all over, all the fish, and so it's big news. And so here's a copyright admission, and I love the screen tone being applied here. And the Joker's henchmen come through. Now this isn't a tooth. I don't believe this is meant to be a tooth. I think this is just a missing something from the inking here. So, because it extends a little bit, but I don't think that's meant to be a tooth. But it would be kind of cool if it is. And so these criminals or henchmen come through the copyright office and says, "Hands behind your heads. You've got a visitor." And so we are going to see an awesome vertical panel featuring the Joker here. Just awesome. And look, a background that is so freaking cool. And so the guy goes, "Good Lord," and Joker turns around. That's funny. Where? And so what Joker wants is he wants to copyright the fish. That's what he wants. And so this guy here, he tries to talk, and he's like, We've no time for pleasantries, you and I. And so he wants to copyrights and the fish, and there the guy says, "Your fish," and he then smacks him. Says, "I told you not to talk. I can answer my own questions." Um, I so I love the screen tones being applied here. And the guy basically says, "Yeah, you can't copyright the fish. It's impossible. Fish faces, they're natural resources." And he's like, you're gonna make me angry. And so, because he wants royalties from all these fish, every time somebody sells the fish, he'll get a cut. And so he says, you have till midnight to change your mind, or you'll be dead as a mackerel. And so, Joker's leaving, and this guy says, "What are you going to do, boss?" He says, I have to attend to another business, Blue Eyes. And by the way, and you can see here, this truck is coming, and he pushes him in front of the truck. Mind your own business. You can see the screen, everybody, and then he just laughs. So, um, I tell you, Joker can be written. I think the Joker is a serious character, written funny because of what he is. But anyway, um, yeah. So I know a lot of people don't like the Joker, but I'm a big fan. I think he's the best villain there is. There is no one quite like him. You can other villains are a little bit like, for example, Norman Osborn in Spider-Man. He's both Lex Luthor and the Joker combined. So he's both of them. But the Joker is just an insane character, and we just don't have too many characters that are insane to that degree of depravity. And that's the thing about the Joker that makes him so different. It's that level. None of the other villains have that level of sadistic meanness like the Joker does. And so we now have Rupert Thorne here, and he's all startled because he had seen Hugo Strange's ghost. And so this guy, it's one of his lieutenants or something, and he tells him, "Hey, are you on those diet pills? You don't look too good." And he's like, "I'm fine." And he says he's got a council meeting because Rupert Thorne is part of the city council. And so he is right now working on eliminating Batman. So anyway, he says he's got to get ready that he'll meet him. And so he goes into the bathroom, and he's still freaking out about Hugo Strange, but the Joker was in the bathroom. Um and he tells him that he's glad he didn't get to find out who Batman was, because if you remember several issues ago, the Hugo Strange was going to bid Batman's secret identity, and the Joker says that he wouldn't want his secret to come out ever. It would take away, he says, it would take away my fun, the thrill of the joust with the perfect opponent. And he goes, "You're protecting him," and then he thinks just like Hugo Strange. And he says the Joker must have the Batman. The Joker deserves the Batman. What fun would there be in humbling mere policemen? I'm the greatest criminal ever. And then he laughs. And for anyone else to destroy the Batman would be unworthy of me. And so you can see just how insane the Joker is, and just laughing, just kind of bringing Thorne crazy. And so Thorne runs away, and he continues laughing, and Thorne just rushes out. gets his driver out and just goes driving himself here. So the bat signal's going on, but Rupert, who is anti-Batman, is um is leaving Gotham, and um so now we are in the home of G. Carl Francis. That's the copyright officer. And so Gordon's like, Batman, I'm glad you came. And he says, hey, I thought, you weren't supposed to use a signal anymore. And he's like, let him write me a reprimand. We have a problem to solve. And so the Joker interrupts the TV program and says, hey, at midnight, he's going to kill G. Carl Francis. I don't like this. I don't think the Joker would speak like this, like with this grandeur. The Joker has spoken. I love the screen tones here with Batman's shape. Anyway, going back to the way he speaks. So I think there was a level of 60s corniness still, even though this is late 70s. That Steve Englehart is kind of putting him in his inner Stan Lee. And so anyway, Batman says, let's get to work. And they're going to look to see if there's anything in here that the Joker could use to kill him. And so it's 5 minutes till midnight, and Batman just continues looking, and he goes, I wonder if I haven't gotten anything. And he's just thinking of everything, and then he's thinking about Silver. I love this. I love the way the cape. And so he wonders now why the Joker is trying to kill him. He's just a pencil pusher and can't even change the laws. And so Batman says Joker's crazy. There's no method to the madness. Suddenly gas still comes in. Batman takes a gas mask from his utility belt, puts it on him. He holds his breath, and suddenly, though, the guy dies, and you can see he becomes Jokerized on his way. Batman realizes that, because they all breathed, and so Batman realizes that it's that part of the compound where you need two things, and he figures that the Joker doused him with the first part when they were in person, and then gave him the second part. Now the Joker comes back on TV and says, hey, he's dead, and if I don't get the copyright, then I'm gonna kill the next guy. And so we get through now. She must have had something here, but Rupert Thor is coming through and finds Silver, and she bums a ride, and so he takes her, and they let us know that the thunderstorms are beginning. So and so that's the end. So it'll be continued in the next issue. So Detective Comics 475, Steve Englehart, Marshall Rogers with Terry Austin. Like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.